Nobody expected a simple practice session to become the biggest attraction at the 2026 Miami Open. Before Alex Eala had even played her first official match, crowds were already packing the practice courts, with fans lining the fences long before she arrived. Phones were raised, every seat filled within minutes, and tournament staff suddenly found themselves dealing with something they hadn't planned for. Around nearby courts, higher-ranked stars continued their routines in front of much smaller audiences, while thousands of eyes stayed fixed on one 20-year-old whose popularity seemed to grow by the hour. It was a moment that raised an unexpected question across the tennis world. How could a player still chasing her first major WTA title already be creating the kind of excitement usually reserved for the sport's biggest legends? And as more people rushed toward her court, it became clear this story was about far more than a practice session.
Where are you guys from? Huh? Where are you from?
LA.
Okay. Here, are you gonna get to watch your matches? Or
I've been coming to this tournament for 10 years.
Oh wow! So now you have someone to cheer for.
Finally have a Filipino here.
Awesome.
you get a Layla selfie also?
The most surprising part wasn't just the size of the crowd. It was who those fans chose to watch. On neighboring courts, Grand Slam champions and top-ranked players practiced with little attention, while Alex Eala's court became the center of the entire venue. Some spectators reportedly waited for more than an hour just to secure a good viewing spot before she even stepped onto the court. Tournament staff had to monitor the growing crowds and adjust traffic around the practice area as more people kept arriving. It was a scene that couldn't be explained by rankings alone. Something much bigger was happening, and for the first time it looked like the fans, not the official seedings, were deciding who the real star of the Miami Open would be. But what caused this sudden explosion of support would make the story even more remarkable. The answer didn't begin in Miami. It had been building for months, one tournament at a time. Every impressive performance brought more attention, but it was the connection Alex Eala created with fans that truly changed everything. Her matches attracted viewers from across the world. Her interviews generated remarkable engagement online, and even routine training clips drew the kind of numbers many established stars would envy. Instead of fading after one breakthrough event, the excitement only continued to grow. By the time she arrived in Miami, thousands of fans already knew exactly where she would be and planned their day around watching her. What looked like a surprise to tournament officials was actually the result of a loyal global fan base that had been growing long before the first ball was struck, and the influence of that support was about to reach far beyond the practice courts. What made this rise even more unusual was that it wasn't driven by marketing alone. The biggest sports brands had already started paying close attention to Alex Eala's growing influence, recognizing that her appeal extended well beyond the tennis court. Every appearance seemed to create more conversation, every post attracted huge engagement, and every tournament brought a larger wave of supporters. For sponsors, that kind of organic attention is incredibly rare because it can't simply be bought with advertising. It comes from fans who genuinely feel connected to an athlete's journey. As that connection grew stronger, many inside the tennis world began asking the same question. If her popularity was already reaching this level now, what would happen once her biggest career victories finally arrived? As the crowds in Miami continued to grow, the conversation around Alex Eala changed completely. This was no longer just about a talented young player with a bright future. More analysts and former professionals began pointing to something much bigger, a rare opportunity for women's tennis to reach millions of new fans. The Philippines had embraced Eala as a national sporting icon, but her influence was no longer limited to one country. Across Southeast Asia and beyond, more people were following her matches, watching her interviews, and filling tournament venues whenever she appeared. That kind of support is incredibly difficult to build because it cannot be created overnight through rankings or advertising. It comes from fans who believe they are witnessing the rise of someone special. Every packed practice court, every sold-out appearance, and every viral moment added more momentum to that belief. By now, many inside the tennis world were no longer asking whether Alex Eala was becoming one of the sport's biggest attractions. They were asking how long it would take before the WTA fully embraced the incredible global audience already following her every move. By the end of the week, one thing had become impossible to ignore. Alex Eala wasn't simply attracting attention. She was changing the atmosphere of the entire tournament. Fans adjusted their schedules just to catch a glimpse of her practice sessions. Social media filled with clips from every appearance, and discussions about her future spread across the tennis world. Former players and commentators openly talked about the impact she could have on the sport, not just because of her talent, but because of the massive audience she was bringing with her. Very few athletes managed to create this level of excitement before reaching the very top of the rankings, which made Eala's rise feel even more extraordinary. The Miami Open became another reminder that modern tennis is no longer driven only by trophies and rankings. Connection with fans has become just as powerful, and in that area, Alex Eala was already competing with the biggest names in the game. But the biggest surprise was still waiting, because what happened after Miami suggested this remarkable journey was only just beginning. Perhaps the most remarkable part of Alex Eala's story is that it still feels like the beginning rather than the peak. At just 20 years old, she has already accomplished what many players spend an entire career chasing, earning the attention of fans across the world before collecting a long list of major titles. Every tournament now brings greater expectations, stronger opponents, and even larger crowds eager to see what she will do next. With each breakthrough, the belief grows that her biggest victories are still ahead of her. Whether it's a deep run at a Grand Slam, a first WTA title, or another unforgettable upset against one of the sport's biggest stars, millions of supporters are ready to follow every step. If the scenes at the Miami Open proved anything, it's that Alex Eala is no longer just one of tennis's brightest young talents. She has become one of its biggest attractions, and the rest of the tennis world is only beginning to realize just how powerful her impact could become. What happened in Miami may eventually be remembered as the moment the tennis world could no longer overlook Alex Eala's growing influence. It wasn't just about packed practice courts or viral videos. It was a clear sign that fans were choosing their own superstar. While rankings will continue to change and new champions will emerge, the kind of loyalty Eala has inspired is far more difficult to achieve. Every tournament now feels like another chapter in a story that is getting bigger with each passing month. If she continues developing at this pace, the conversations surrounding her may soon shift from potential to championships. For now, one thing is already certain. The excitement surrounding Alex Eala is no passing trend. It's a movement that continues to grow, and after everything witnessed in Miami, the rest of the tennis world has no choice but to pay attention. When the 2026 Miami Open is remembered years from now, the biggest story may not be who lifted the trophy, but the player who captured the attention of an entire tournament before her first official match had even begun. Alex Eala's packed practice sessions, the overwhelming fan support, and the constant buzz throughout the venue showed that something special is happening in women's tennis. Her journey has become much bigger than rankings or statistics because it represents hope for millions of fans who finally have a player they can proudly rally behind on the biggest stages. Every tournament adds another chapter, every performance brings new believers, and every appearance strengthens the connection she has built with supporters around the world. Whether her first WTA title arrives tomorrow or later in her career, the foundation of her global popularity has already been established. The scenes witnessed in Miami proved that this isn't simply the rise of another talented young player. It could be the beginning of tennis's next worldwide superstar. If her current momentum continues, the biggest moments of Alex Eala's career may still be ahead, and the rest of the tennis world will be watching every step of that remarkable journey.